Zack Snyder. So, the Snyder Cut came out recently. And as an avid DC fan who's had to endure the erratic roller coaster of disappointment that has been the DCEU, I thought, why not go back and watch some of Snyder's other films and give them another look? And watching back, I realized that the way Snyder uses color grading and slow motion from a filmmaking aspect, we can really learn from. So in this impromptu but very thought out video essay, I'm going to be talking about some color grading and slow motion fundamentals, and then breaking down how exactly Snyder uses these tools to tell his heightened stories. We'll be discussing two films from Snyder's repertoire, 300 and Zack Snyder's Justice League. Firstly, we need a brief understanding of the color grading process. So, color grading is the post-production process of adjusting the image in specific ways to create a stylistic effect. Not to be confused with color correction, which in layman's terms is the technical process of correcting coloring errors in raw captured footage, as well as adjusting the image's color, contrast, and exposure to create consistency within the shots, to provide a natural, unprocessed foundation for which additional effects or visuals can be added on top. Color grading is a creative choice, and that's taken to best represent the story by the use of color, often to denote mood, character, emotion, and so on. Now, it's well known that Snyder loves his dark-themed worlds and stories. He really enjoys going for that borderline nihilistic environment. But how is he creating that feeling in the audience?
Surprise, mother.
More specifically, he curates a cinematic color scheme. Creating a cinematic color scheme begins with three basic criteria: hue, color, saturation, the intensity of the color, and brightness, how light or dark the color is. A monochromatic color scheme is when a colorist takes a single base hue or color and then extends it using different shades, tones, and tints of that color. Tints are achieved by adding whites, and shades are achieved by adding blacks. Now here's the scene. Leonidas is alone, a young child, in the cold mountain, about to fight a wolf with nothing but his brute strength and a spear. Now this scene is purposefully colored differently than the rest of the film. One thing that the color indicates is time. We're in the past. The nature of the scene is intense, so the dark tones are deepened. The cool blues provide a sense of distance and detachment, which makes sense because he's on a mountaintop. And then the icy whites elicit a cold, chilling climate, thereby giving the audience a cold, chilling feeling. So by playing with the shades of the same color, Snyder creates a dynamic opening sequence that now visually stimulates the audience while also emotionally informing the story. Now, being known for primarily adapting written works, Zack Snyder uses associative color to really bring those known properties to life, and 300 is no exception. Now, associative colors in film refer to a recurring color or color scheme that's connected to an important character or theme. We build an emotional reaction to the color because of association, kind of like the neon blue that we associate with Dr. Manhattan in Zack Snyder's Watchmen. But in 300, Zack Snyder packs a punch with the intensity of his chosen colors. Most notably, the red capes on all 300 Spartans. This is very, very tactfully used as both a practical and a symbolic indicator. Practically, it tells the audience who our heroes are for this tale. The bright red capes signify all Spartans. But it also functions symbolically in that this red is now associated with freedom, courage, and the very essence of the Spartans. These are fierce warriors fighting against the insane odds and refusing to kneel to the temptations of Xerxes' luxurious offerings that are also conveyed by the metallic gold color that enrobes Xerxes' costume and the set design around him. And all of it comes back to just remind us that these red capes are our heroes fighting ever forward against tyranny and championing freedom no matter the cost. And all of that is coming from a pile of colors. Didn't know it could do that, did you? Color does so much. Commonly used in action films to emphasize the action, slow motion heightens reality by controlling the perception of time. Slow motion can provide a visceral and epic experience. 300 is a great example of this. Snyder takes the best aspects of cinematography and creates emotional, captivating battle sequences that enthrall the audience visually and keeps them invested in the story. Then paired with some quick shots that are raising the pace, and we got a hit combo. But if you want to talk feels, there's the death scene. Slow motion gives air and space for the audience to really feel that character's final moments. By slowing time, we are made to be present and explore all the facets of this character's death, from hit to intense dread to its inevitable finality. But now, for what I really want to talk about, now, because slow motion drives the audience to pay attention to things that would go unnoticed normally, filmmakers have an opportunity to better inform their stories. Now, slow motion is a great way to establish meaning by sharing a character's personal experience, especially in reaction to a specific person, place, or event. And this can be particularly effective when giving exposition. You know, there's a phrase that I was often told in acting school, and it was something along the lines of, when in doubt, it is better to show your audience rather than tell them. Cinema is a visual medium, so yeah, that makes sense. You'd want to show them your story. But I think a great example is really found in the stark differences between how Cyborg's backstory was handled in both of the Justice Leagues. One is greatly effective, and the other, in my personal opinion, is lazy writing at its finest.
A Victor Stone, genius IQ, football scholarship to GCU, and deceased.
Yes.
So to backtrack, Cyborg's history is briefly explained in the 2017 Joss Whedon Justice League almost entirely through dialogue. Now I'm going to clarify, we're given the same information, but one throws it at us and moves on to the next thing while the other makes us experience it. Snyder marinates in the early life of Victor. He establishes how the young, smug teenager has a very self-assured, respectable mother who has his back. While this scene is very brief, we get a feel of exactly the type of resilient woman that Victor's mom is. And through her perspective, we learn a bit more about Victor's character. We establish that he has tech smarts, that he has two very successful scientist parents, and that he is the one to look out for the underdog, via him helping the struggling girl while risking potential suspension. Now, he is smug and probably cocky, and at this point we're seeing this character definitely is not without flaws. And then we get the moment. We've seen this in 1,000 football movies before. It's the end of the fourth quarter, the game looks almost lost, and Victor scores the winning touchdown. Yeah, we've seen this before, but now Victor is having his movie moment. He's at the top of the world. He's unstoppable. It's a rush of joy, exhilaration, elation. His mom is in the stands and is cheering and radiating parental pride for her son. And then one point of view shot and a camera tilt to an empty chair and a look of disappointment. And we get it. there is no need for words. It is a whole history of disappointment. And now we've established one of our main characters' internal struggles for the rest of the story. Now, before someone goes and says, oh, it's so dramatic, oh, he's upset his dad didn't go with him to the football game, just get over it. It's not about the game. It's not about the game. This is about a young man struggling to deal with his anger and disappointment stemming from experiencing his father's absence in his life. It is a false idea that he believes that then gets exalted into hard facts in his mind because of his trauma and because he's young and he fails to communicate his feelings in a healthy way. And because of this broken relationship with the only family member he has left, he can't understand his dad's excuses. And this is all well set up to pave the way for a great story arc that will allow him to grow and accept himself, forgive his father, and heal. And this is all so wonderfully set up for us, the audience, by a camera tilt and an empty chair. That is the art of creating moving, slow emotion and connecting a character and his story to your audience. And Joss Whedon just decided to cut it, you know. All right, everyone, thank you so much. Let me know what you thought of this analysis. It's my first time trying it out this way. It kind of was an impromptu thing, but it's been a long time working at it. It's like 5 a.m. right now. So I really hope you guys enjoyed, and hopefully you learned something, a thing or two about filmmaking, or perhaps you'll go and check out some of Snyder's movies and see them again. See if you enjoy them some more, or maybe not, who knows. But I hope you have a lovely day. You really deserve it, and bye-bye.